Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sounds of This is your host, Monique Esberry. I'm here today to share my own sentiments regarding the tragedy that happened to Sade Robinson. And in this episode, I'm going to break apart several different issues that are pertaining to the lack of protection for Black women in America, as well as around the world. But we see this problem in America. So let me begin with a little bit of facts about Sade. Sade, for those of you that have been keeping up with what's happening, she was a very inspirational young lady. She was only 19 years old. She was also in school getting her associate's degree, and she also had aspirations to go into the Air Force. Unfortunately, none of those dreams would ever come into fruition. And I apologize if there's some background noise. I'm actually around a lot of noise right now. Now, Sade's just like many young people who, want to go on a date. You think going on a date's going to be fun and innocent, but you never know what you're getting yourself into. And so a lot of folks have been kind of blaming Sade for deciding to go out with this man who, in this picture, he looks a little bit off. But a lot of folks are saying, well, that's what you get for going out with the white man. The white men will do that to you and this and that. And the people saying these statements, I've seen a lot of it coming from Black men. And what I want to point out is that Sade could have been murdered by a Black man, by any man, okay, irrespective of his race. So we need to put that on the table. Now, when it comes to Black women in America, Black women are the least likely to be protected in the United States, okay? Black women and girls are more likely to be gunned down through the hands of an intimate partner than any other race. Black girls are 4 times more likely to be sex trafficked more than any other race. When the study was actually done about, why are Black women, sex trafficked and kidnapped at the rate that they are being kidnapped, a group of pedophiles were actually interviewed in California, and they were interviewed, and their statements were that if we do something to a Black girl or a Black woman, no one's going to really care. No one's going to really look for her. So we know we can get away with it. And the people saying this are people of all races. And so the narrative, unfortunately, is that Black women are not desirable. They're not going to be protected by the judicial system. And you could do whatever you want to a Black woman. Sadly, these statistics are very factual. When you roll back the stats on Black women and homicides, 40% of Black women's murders are, like, whoever murdered them are not going to be found. 40%. That means if a Black woman goes missing, more than likely, you may not find the killer. You may find the killer and you may not find the killer. Okay? So that's problem number 1. And then the other broader question is why? Why is it that they had to pass what's called the Ebony Alert? The Ebony Alert is very similar to the Amber Alert, but it's for Black children that go missing. And the reason they had to do that is because so many Black children are put on the back burner when it comes to solving cases of abductions. And it's controversial because some people feel like that's going to make police really not go look. So the next question is, why do we have this type of law enforcement in power? Why hasn't the president and the people in power restructured our actual law enforcement policies? And the reason why this is so important is because in the case of Sade Robinson, she was murdered by a white man. This white man is allowed, if his family chooses to bail his ass out, has a $5 million bond. Okay. So that means he can still, and his family has money, he can still be set free on bond. Why would a judge grant him bond? Because it goes back to the narrative that black women are not seen as important and that you can victimize a black woman anytime you want to. Many people, when you talk about the woes of the black woman, they don't even care. In fact, they start getting upset. They don't want to listen to it. It's like, who cares? But if a white woman goes missing, if a white woman is murdered, it's the same damn shit. The whole world falls apart because Lillian went missing. But if the black woman goes missing, it falls on deaf ears, especially when it comes to law enforcement. A lot of this has to do with money and power. It has to do with what families have some sort of financial endowment, or who can pay off or tip off a police officer, And so much of it has to do with greed and corruption. And you can find law enforcement of all races that could care less about the black woman. Sade's murder was horrendous. Not only did she go to a place on her date called the Twisted Fisherman. Now, when you think back on all of the metaphors, it is frightening to really see how it was almost a foreshadow of things to come. So she goes on this date with this man, Maxwell Anderson. I don't believe he even owns a car. And they go and have some drinks. And this is the thing, people. I'm not trying to tell you to stop drinking, but I'm warning you, like, some of you are going to be in a casket because of the drinking, because it's skewing your judgment. It has skewed my judgment in the past. I don't even really drink. You'll see me drinking wine every now and then, but because it skews your judgment, it's really serious. But you can't tell people to stop drinking. So they go there and she's having a good time. She was excited about going on this date with this man. And, it was innocent. She's 19. She has no idea what's out there, like what his shadows are. He's much older than her. Perhaps she was thinking he was going to treat her well. He was going to, I think he chose the restaurant they were going to go to. Maybe he offered to pay. I know he went to go pick up his W-2. So he used to work at this place. And so, he had, and to me, if you're picking up a W-2, either you don't work there, you got fired, or something happened there. So she's not in her right mind. I can tell you that. She was probably not in her right mind when she decided to go back to his house. He probably said, hey, let's go back to my place and let's hang out for a little bit. And God only knows what actually happened when she got there. He could have just turned the lights on and turned into a Dr. Jekyll, just turned into this beast of a monster, something we don't even know. But what I can tell you is that a lot of murderous things happened. And what we don't know is when she died and how horrific that experience was when she was dismembered. We can only assume the worst, that he took advantage of her sexually, and in order to cover up his crimes, he decided to dismember her body so that it will be difficult to find her, to find the evidence. And it also shows how crazy he is. Now, I want to tell you guys a dream that I had. It was on April 2nd. I had this dream the day that Sade was murdered. Sade was murdered, or I will say it was sometime 4 something in the morning. I'm not sure exactly when she was murdered on April 2nd. But this dream was so scary. I had a dream that there was a woman and she was running from a man in her house, in a house. And this man was coming at her with an axe. And in the dream, I was trying to protect her. I remember I had my dog in the dream and I was trying to protect her. And so the man was swinging this axe. I just remember like how frightening it was, because I'm getting attacked with an axe trying to save this woman. Now, in the dream, he ended up actually hurting me with the axe. Like he unalived me and my dog. So it's like in the dream, I died, and so did the woman. So the dream kept repeating itself, where it would be a new woman in the same scenario. This man is coming with an axe and he's swinging. Now, and I kept dying. Now, finally, I said, you know what? I can't die anymore. And I went and got my Grim Reaper, which is a little statue that I have. And it is my angel of death that protects me from nonsense and evil people. And the scythe the statue has, it started to spin on its own. It just started spinning. And suddenly this amber of like this little thing of fire, like a little cherub of fire, started to blaze around the angel of death. And then it was like it was attacking the man with the axe that was coming to try to kill us again. And so it was almost like I did like a spiritual spell against this evil. That is what I did. And so the last part of the dream, it showed different men of stature. These men were police officers. They were Omega Sci-Fis. They were political men. And each of these men in the dream had actually murdered their significant other. It could have even been a man that they murdered. They murdered their significant other through an axe or some type of weapon, like not just a gun. It was like something sharp. And they were dancing. I never forget. They were dancing in the streets, like celebrating because nobody caught them. Nobody knew their secrets. And so that dream, I wrote that dream down. I have been sick with the flu since the eclipse. I got extremely sick. But I wrote that dream down in my dream journal. And when everything came out with Sade's death, I really strongly felt that dream was connected to her death, as well as other people that have been murdered, and there has not been justice served. So I'm letting you guys know, whoever's listening, you thought you're getting away with killing people, you got another thing coming. Because the dark side of life, meaning the dark angels, the ones that are here to protect the lost and the innocent souls, they're coming for you. They are at your door. They are in the corner of your eye. Okay? So Sade's death is a reminder. It is a reminder in so many ways. It is a reminder of the fragility of life. It reminds us that life is not promised. And it also reminds us that, once again, the Black woman is in a state of not being protected. Maxwell comes from an affluent family. His father, does very well in insurance. And, I don't know much about Maxwell's background, but I can say that because he is a white man, we will see how justice is served. I want to see justice served for Sade, but not only for Sade. This should open up the chapters of many lost stories of Black women, and I'm talking about Black women today, and Black girls, Black men and boys, that's another episode. But because the Black woman is the most vulnerable of all the populations, where she will get gunned down many times by the hands of her lover. Her Black child, her children may be victimized by the hands of her lover. There are countless stories where you will hear about these things. And sadly, some of the men may do life and some may only do 25 years. And I have seen some that have actually been acquitted, that there wasn't enough evidence. And there's another story that I'll talk to you guys about probably in a different episode, about a man who literally got away with murdering his wife and taking her life insurance. Sade's body parts are being discovered each day. Maybe not each day, but every other day there's something being discovered. So the question is, how many body parts are we talking about? Not only are body parts missing, but there's charred remains. So that means this man has also tried to burn up his evidence. They just found her torso. I want to say it was yesterday. I mean, this is crazy. Like, where is her head? Where is her arms? Where is her chest? Where is the rest of her remains? And so the other thing that is an uncomfortable topic, and why some people are blaming her, they're blaming her because this is a reminder of what has happened to Black people in America for hundreds of years. Black people have been dismembered for fun in this country. They were barbecued at steaks for fun. Okay? This happened there are some generations still alive that remember these types of crimes, but they weren't considered crimes back then. During slavery, Black people's body parts were sold at auctions. Their skin was made into leather. And I did a podcast on that. I had to take it down. I think it was just too much. Just to know that part of our history is in the Jim Crow Museum today. There are some white families that have Black body parts as like a souvenir. Like, literally, it's been what do they call it, leathered or and furnished in a way where it doesn't, like, it's still, you can see it's an ear, for example. You can see its skin. These things are in some people's family vaults till today, where a Black man's genitals are a souvenir. He was castrated. A Black woman's baby was ripped out of her stomach. So when you see the evil of racism that has not gone away, of police brutality, which stems from the KKK, the police, the inception of the police. We were birthed out of the KKK. So this is why there's these problems that we still see inherently in how the police force handles and mismanages cases, and also conducts unlawful killings against Black people. So Sade's death is a reminder of the decay of American history that has been swept underneath the rugs from people like Joe DeSantis, who refuses to acknowledge our history in class book. Well, we don't need a textbook. Those are lies anyway. We need this content to be out there in the media, in AI. Okay, AI don't lie. All right. Now, AI is lying on black people. That's something different. But we need these stories to be resurfaced because they are a stark reminder that we have a long way to go. And unfortunately, that I don't know where we're going. See, when you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. And I say this to people like I will call them the tap dancing hoes on stage. Some of you worship some of these musicians as if they're God and goddesses, but they're making a mockery out of your own race. Some of you love Beyonce to the point you can't say anything wrong against her. But yet this woman looks like a prostitute in half of the things that she wears. She's bringing back country music, but yet she looks like a white woman doing it with blonde bleached hair. So you're confusing people, Beyonce, with that message. You have many female rap artists like Cardi B, Sexy Red, Ice Woman or whatever, Haley Bailey. Like half of y'all aren't wearing any clothes. And then you're at concerts, SZA. You're at these concerts and you're objectifying yourself. And see, people don't want to talk about that. But then the nation wants to mourn when a black woman is dismembered and killed, but yet you don't understand the ideology that many people have about the black woman, that the black woman and the teenage black woman and the little girl of a black woman is a harlot, is a hoe. You understand what I'm saying? She's all of these. She is all these things. She's a harlot. She's a hoe, and she's going in and out the door. Maxwell Anderson thought in his degenerate mind, he literally thought that he could get away with this crime. Okay, he thought this because he felt in his mind, well, nobody cares about this black girl. I could do whatever I want to her. Nobody cares about her, because that is the narrative that is out there. It is indicative in law enforcement, and it's indicative of the heinous crimes against the black community. If a black man or woman is killed, no one is going to be out. The police officers, many of them will not be looking for them. But if they were white, that would be a whole different story. So when the black woman, when you show and present to the world, and you're a black woman in power, you're in the media, you're an influencer, and you're a dumb hoe, and that's what I'm gonna call you, because I'm mad at you for being naked all over the damn place. And then you wonder why you unfortunately you got murdered. You got deleted by your boyfriend or by the stalker. Stop. What is wrong with you? What is going on? Because you think that's all that you are worth. You think that is your worth, is your body, and that's it. That's all you have to offer. Now, in Sade's case, she wasn't out plastering her body all over the place, but she fell victim to the stupidity that has been perpetuated in the black community. We can't blame anybody but ourselves here. You can't blame the white man when we have to take responsibility, when our black men have to take responsibility to help protect us and not delete us, not put us down. When you have to take responsibility of your own self-esteem, your self-worth, not bleaching your skin, not trying to look like something you're not hating the next black woman, not protecting your children against predators. We have to take responsibility. We are on fire with sadness. We're on fire with truth that is whipping our tails. We're getting deleted every single day. And you have innocent people like Sade, who wasn't a tap dancing hoe and who had aspirations. I think all clowns you need to go sit down in a cave and seal that cave up and put some books in it. And that's where you need to be. You don't need to be nowhere on social media, because we have men in this world and women, but I'm talking mostly about men who do not have impulse control. These men are addicted to soft porn, addicted to pornography. Many men are, and a lot of them don't want to be. It's like it's being thrown at them all through their phones, all on TV, everything. And it's becoming like a mental health poison, to the point where we will continue to see more and more bodies being slain. So I say all this to say we have to take responsibility. We are not going to blame Sade because she was with a white man. She could have been with him for reasons we don't know, or thought he was okay for reasons we don't know. Because if we start just doing the blame game, then what about taking responsibility for the domestic violence that is happening in so many Black relationships? It's really around the world with every race. But speaking on our race, what are we saying about that? What excuses are we making for that partner that was beating the hell out of his woman and the children and then burned down the apartment? The same men, are you going to say something against that? Or are you going to speak on Sade? So finally, people, there are countless stories of Black girls and Black children being harmed and being murdered by the hands of spouses, by the hands of boyfriends. In this case, we have a man, or a monster. He's not a man, he's a monster, that took out a light in our community because he felt that she was not valued and that nobody would go looking for her. He speaks to the greater narrative that we have, that Black women can be discarded at any given time and no one's going to care. So I'm very curious to see how this plays out and how justice plays out. Will he be given a life sentence? Will he be given the death penalty? Or will he just claim insanity and only do 20 years? How many of our stories have been lost into time based off an insanity plea? How many pedophiles have walked away from sentences or that served 3 years after committing a heinous crime against someone that was Black and it didn't matter, or against an innocent person in general and it didn't matter? A pedophile. And this happens to women across the board, white women, all of them. They can literally get raped. Something happens to that woman, but the pedophile got to walk away for free. So now we have to start taking a closer look into our judicial system and who is a pedophile within the system. How many judges are there acting as though they are real judges, but behind closed doors, they're having sex orgies with boys and they're doing the unthinkable because of their status? 2024 is the year that the doors of smoke and mirrors will no longer be foggy. Things will no longer be hazy. The truth will come out in the skeletons that many people that have in power, that have money, fame, fortune, You will be exposed. You're being exposed this year. And this will not stop. It will be an unwinding and an uncycling effect where you guys are going to literally be jumping off bridges because you don't understand how the exposure is happening. So I challenge you all today. If you know of somebody that has shady behavior, now I'm not saying profiling an innocent person like some of you do and they end up going to jail for no reason. I'm talking about someone that is building a bunker in their backyard. They look like they have a graveyard in their backyard. You hear yelling and screaming in their house. You see somebody leaving out of the house with a body bag, which is something me and my mother literally intercepted. Her next door neighbor was a killer. Okay, this man was killing. This man actually killed this woman. He was a white woman. He was a black man, and stuffed her into a closet space. Okay, and he tried to. When my mom called the police because of some of the things that were going on. She said that she saw him leave. He moved out and he had a looked like a body. Like he moved this body out of his house and he ran away from the police. So that's the reason I get fired up about these things, because it is hit close to home. I even had a dream about the woman that died. I knew how she died. I mean, I'm a young person, 19. I was actually Sade's age when I dreamt that. And so this stuff is not a joke. It is not okay for innocent people to get murdered. And it is not okay for bastards like Maxwell Anderson to get a bond of $5 million and to think that he may have a chance of being bonded out. Now, if his ass gets to stay there and rot in prison, let him become somebody's girlfriend, because he's going to be somebody's woman if he doesn't get murdered his damn self. He needs to get justice for his own self, meaning he needs to burn mentally and go through a purgatory of anguish for what he has done to Sade. Sade, may you not only rest in peace, but may your story be the story that unlocks the doors for many people to be awakened to the tragedies that happens to innocent Black women. May your story remind America of the heinous crimes that has happened against Black people and being decapitated and dismembered and being torn away from our loved ones. May your essence continue to flow with the angels of light, the celestial beings. And may your mother and may your family gather so much courage and strength to retell your story and to be a light to our community, to wake our asses up from stupidity, and for the Jezebel spell of shaking and dancing to stop, so that more innocent young girls and women are not taken out of here from the hands of people, of men who cannot control their impulses, their jealousy, and their sexual addictions. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and I will be back with more information real soon. Talk to you soon.